321. I am your host, Keith Andrew, along here with Adam Stumle, and I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you for having me, Keith.
No, absolutely. Now, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into a perfect example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. But you should never give up, and you should prove to people you can still amount to something. Labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. You should prove to them that labels do not matter. You know, for a perfect example, I was labeled as mentally challenged, mentally disturbed, retarded. You know, I was because I'm not working in retail for the rest of my life. But look at what I'm able to accomplish. So basically, someone labels you, turn a negative into a positive. With that being said, half hour, 45 minutes of your time, see how it goes. And start it off, I'm going to ask you some easy questions, some hard-hitting ones. And the first group of questions I'm going to ask you was, how was life growing up? And did you do any sports when you were growing up?
Me, growing up, I grew up on a farm in Sweden on an island called Gotland. So I was very used to being out in nature. And I loved tractors for sure. And I had no idea I was going to go into film later on. That came later. And as sports, I would say I had a lot of sports, but the main one was swimming. I was a swimmer for 7 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, did you bring up a good subject, background in Sweden? Now, before I get to that, the other question I'm going to ask you, how it ties into that, was, did you ever want to be a professional swimmer, number one? And did you go to college in Sweden, or did you go to the college in the States?
Well, it depends on what you say. To answer your first question, in terms of wanting to be a professional swimmer, I would say yes. Mainly because you need a goal, but I don't think I understood what a professional swimmer was at the time. A professional swimmer, in my eyes, was someone who is the best, and I always wanted to get better. Today, I think professional means you are making a living out of your profession, therefore becoming a professional, so to say. And to answer your second question, sorry, could you remind me again?
Oh, did he go to well, it's funny.
College, yes,
Let me rephrase the second one because I want to add to it. Did he did he go to college in the States or Sweden? And added on to that, were you a study nerd or party animal?
That's interesting. I think I would have to say I was probably a study. Did you say study nerd?
A study nerd or party animal?
I was probably a nerd. Yes. As a swimmer, I took a very serious oath to not drink any alcohol, and so that made parties very hard. And it definitely, that's funny. I haven't thought about that in a while, but it's definitely a big part of being a teenager. So in Sweden, I went to high school in Sweden until I was 19 years old, and then I went into the military for a year. And a year after that, I came to America and studied at a city college here.
Oh, that's really cool. The next question I was going to ask you is, what did you major in? And when trying to phrase it. When you were over in Sweden, what were some of your favorite memories, and what made you make the transition? Was it hard making the transition from being over Sweden to America? Do you prefer being in Sweden over America?
The transition was very easy, I would say. It's definitely my home island, Gotland. It's a beautiful place. Again, growing up on a farm, I never grew up in a big city, and when you grow up in nature, you really it brings you a little closer to yourself, I think. and therefore I'm never really suffering from the city stress. Sometimes I've been when I've lived in the city for too long, I can feel like it gets very stressful. But then I know that you kind of just take your pause in nature, and it takes you back to it. So very stress relieving. And a good memory was probably getting out. My best memory in Sweden is probably when I graduated from the military. In terms of it, I don't know if it was as much of an achievement as it was a sense of freedom. You felt sort of imprisoned for a year, so I was not completely fond of it, but that was a very good challenge. And I would say because of the military, personally, it was very eye opening. You never when you grow time in the military, you have someone really yelling at you, really treating you horribly, and that brings a certain reality to you. And I think after the military, I really started thinking about what do I want to do, not just what should I do. And something that I think everyone might be able to relate to, why should I do what everyone tells me to do? Even if it's in very, in their meaning well, so to say. They mean all the best. They say, I think you should do this. And we know this by become a lawyer, become a doctor, study economy, so that, money, 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 money. And this was, of course, my plan. Growing up as a young kid, you wanted to be successful. My dad, he's an entrepreneur. And after the military, I really felt like life is too short to do the boring stuff. And I started thinking, what do I want to do? What would be really fun? And that is when the artistic side that I had never really explored started to come out. And America came as an option. And that was exactly what I had been looking for. Because I came here to basically study film.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the next question I was going to ask you, are you a professional wrestling fan? And because you do look like the stunt double for one of the wrestlers, Edge.
No, I don't have a big answer to that. I'm not a wrestling fan.
Oh, now the next question I was going to ask you is, what were a lot of people say you're a jack of all trades. You're a producer, you're an actor, you were nominated for a couple of awards. Who influenced you to start your career? Like, what was, the tip of the iceberg that you said, I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to climb that ladder and go to the next step. And give us basically a highlight of the ladder, if you want to look at it. What was the first step, and what led you up?
Sure. I would say my milestone was just coming to America. Because once I came here, I feel like, people like to say, and I really felt that when I came to America, that's when I started living my dream, and I have ever since. It was very simple. Maybe I was definitely not I definitely did not start out at the top when I came here, but starting the journey to get there is what made me feel like I am now living my dream, and I love the life here. And that sort of sparked, when you're working with what you love, so to say, when you're working with your passion, I realized that it was much easier to work because it was fun. So school became more fun, working became more fun, and that was a big milestone for me, I think, because it created a big hunger for more. And it only took me a few years at college then to really learn and master the art of filmmaking. And the best part for me was when I got offered an opportunity to make a movie for the school. And this was probably the second milestone when it came to filmmaking, because at first I thought this is terrifying. But I had also learned that if you really want to make it, you got to take chances. And this was scary, but I have to say yes to this and do my best. And this was a movie that actually went really well. And it explored. Do you want me to go? How specific do you want me to talk about each project, or do you want me to give you kind of the quick overall version, so to say? Because I can talk a lot.
No, it's completely up to you. You can express yourself how you like.
Okay. Well, thank you. Then I would say my first project really was when I did this video for school. It was a fun video where we explored goal setting, and you had a goal and how to get there. And we did 40 interviews throughout the entire school, and then I got this chance to really start editing this down to a 6-minute video. And the idea was for this video to be shown for the entire faculty and staff in service. That's about 800 people. And I had never really done anything like this before. So I was terrified. But again, you got to sort of, this is a chance. And even if I don't know 100% how to do it, I think I know enough how to do it. And I think I have the skills I need to learn the rest. And that's what I kind of based my judgment on. So I said yes. And that's exactly what happened. It was such a great learning experience, meeting a challenge and really overcoming it, so to say. And I was able to, and it became a big success. After that, I got offered 3 new videos to make for school, and I accepted 2 of them. And I can say today I've done 8 videos total for the school. And so this sort of kept going. The next milestone was that must have come out of school then, where I got employed at a company called Havoc Productions. This is we edit car documentaries for Discovery Channel UK. It also airs on the Smithsonian Channel, and some shows airs at National Geographic. And it was, I can say, that was great. Again, a very scary world to go into, but I felt I have the experience I need. I have really, when you say if I was a party animal or study nerd, when it came to college here in America, I became a complete wreck of a study nerd. I not as more of a workaholic probably. I had even it was a lot of work, and it paid off at the end because I had so much experience. I was able to really kickstart my career working for this big production company that was local, and it did not take me long until I got to edit my first episode either. So today I am an editor for Havoc Productions, and we're just waiting for season 3 to start.
Hey, if you're ever interested in interviewing me, I'm always up for it. Or doing a documentary about me, just throwing some ideas out for you.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. Oh, I think, yeah. No, I have a lot of personal projects that I want to attack. One thing when you say yes to many projects, you kind of, after a while, you have to learn to balance it, so to say, if that makes sense. And so I've had a lot of jobs, and definitely personal projects would be to start. That's interesting, though. What's your story?
I'm sorry, you were breaking up. What was that?
I asked, that's interesting. I asked, what is your story?
What would you like to know?
What would you like to make a documentary about?
Oh, basically, for an example, I would show people that, basically about my life, growing up as a learning disability, all the BS that I had to overcome, basically teasing myself, how to make videos, and just taking it one step at a time, just showing people that if it's a disability, look at what I can accomplish. Do you think that would be something people would be interested in?
Yeah, I think people always need inspiring stories about. I mean, ultimately, one thing I've learned is that with hardship, when something is really hard to make, you're in the right direction. But I don't think our society is teaching us that. I think our society is teaching us when it's hard, you give up. When it's hard, try and find the easy way around it. And I think that's a very dishonest way of looking at life, because that's not really how life works. And I think the people that go through true struggles in life know this. And they are the ones who are always going to know how to really overcome challenges. And if everyone had a more positive attitude to overcoming, like you say, working really hard despite hardship, if everyone adapted that mentality, I think we would live in a better world. So yes, that is very important to spread that type of message.
No, absolutely. Now we're gonna take a quick commercial break. I have a couple commercials I like to play. And basically, when we come back, I'm going to pass the show over to you, and you can ask me anything you want.
A message for yourself, or as a gift for someone else. For personal connections, shout-outs, birthdays, proposals, weddings, and much more. Enter your details about yourself, so the celebrity can record a personal video message, especially for you, including details such as your name, age, birthday, hobbies, or whatever else you include. As soon as the video has been recorded, you'll get an email with your link, so you can share it on social media, or download and keep it. Celebrities record videos as and when they can, usually within 2 weeks. But if you want a video for a specific date, and it does not look like it will arrive in time, you can cancel it and get an instant refund at the click of a button. There are hundreds of celebrities to choose from, and many more joining every day. Search by category or genre, buy a gift voucher, get updates and offers, and encourage your favorite celebrities to join so they can connect with fans in a fun and unique way. Raise money for their charities, and much more. So order your video now for yourself or for someone else.
I'm so bored.
Want to see something really cool?
Yeah!
Now you'll never be bored again with Loot Crate, a totally bodacious mystery box packed with awesome toys, radical games, and other surprises. And the best part is, you can get Loot Crate delivered right to your door. So don't delay. Ask your parents and order today.
Everything okay in there? Yeah, everything great. I love Loot Crate.
Batteries not included.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 321. I am your host, Keith Andrew. We just took a commercial break. I'm here with a good friend of mine, Adam. And now, as I said, when we took a commercial break, I'm going to pass the show over to you. This is your time after all, so if you want to plug your social media, if there's any tips or advice you can give to the viewers on how to get noticed in the entertainment world, this is your time, so I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Keith. So I would say, coming from the film industry, to kind of summarize it, the first thing you got to put to your mind to is just work hard. You gotta work hard, and if you don't want to work hard, it's going to be very difficult, because it's going to be difficult as it is. When you work with something as big as, when you really want to become a professional, so to say, and you really want to work and make a living out of what you love to do, but like in my case, I work with filmmaking. It's going to be challenging because there's already a lot of competition, so to say, and so if you can't put your heart to at least trying, then this is not something for you. And I think that is the only thing I would ask for. if you do it like a step-to-step model, step 1, what do you want to do? Step 2, do it. And the hardest thing is always how to start. And I think if you're that's why like I said before, if your goal is to become the best, that's not there's a long distance between between 1 and 10, right? And so that's why I would say my advice is just get started in any way you can, and mainly any way you want to. When I started with film, I was already editing when I was 14 years old, and it's something I've held on to throughout my entire life. When I got the opportunity to come to America and study filmmaking, it was something I took on. When I was in college, I was aware that, I'm here to have fun, basically. And that's what was driving me. If you want to make it easy for yourself, work with what you're passionate about. That's why I say step 1 is just, what do you want to do? And then step 2 is do it. And it should be something that you can do, something that you want to do. Say, for instance, if your goal is to win an Oscar, that is something, there's a long way to get there. But if your goal is to work with film, that is something you can start doing the next day. And if you don't want to do it the moment when you say that this is what I'm going to do, then I'm not sure you really want to do it. Does that make sense? That's where you really prove to others and to yourself that, no, this is what I'm going to do. Because despite everything that is going against you, this is what I'm doing. And so the first step is really just start in any way you can. And that goes back to hard work. Hard work meaning you got to really love what you do. And I'm not asking you to love it. I'm asking you to do what you love. And then the hard work will come through it. Because when you work with what you love to do, you're not gonna think about the fact that you've spent 10 hours working with something. I mean, if I go to a job I don't like, I'm going to count every hour I'm there. I'm going to wait for the clock to hit 4 o'clock and go home. When I'm working with something I really love to do, like with film, sometimes the clock is 11 at night. And I'm thinking, I should probably go home because I'm going up early tomorrow, but I'll just do 1 more hour. This was not necessarily good for my health, but it was very good for my career because it allowed me to work harder, learn faster, and just overall the best part about it was that this is not something I forced myself to do. This is something I did willingly because it was just so much fun. And that's the simplicity. That's just the simple part of working with what you're passionate about. And if you start with working what you're passionate about, it's not about just learning. It's about the experience that you build up. And if you add it together, if you're saying you want to be a filmmaker and you're just putting in 2 hours a day, at the end, it's the experience, the amount of hours you have in experience. That's what's going to matter in how good you're going to be and how fast you're going to evolve. And if you're only putting in 2 hours a day, that's how good you're going to be in 5 years. If you are putting in 12 hours a day, you're going to have a dramatic learning curve, so to say. And next to hard work, I would say you got to be nice. You are ultimately going to work with other people. So if you're going to work hard, you're going to work. Our entire lives revolve around working with people. So you know how to work hard, good. But if you don't know how to be nice, if you don't know how to work with other people, no one's going to want to work with you. So you got to add some personal traits here in terms of being humble, being nice, and just have a positive attitude. Because if I would say that my recipe for, I guess I hate using the word success, but people like using it in America, but my recipe for success would be just work hard and have fun with it and be nice. That's all I did. I came to America. I started to work with film. I started studying film, and I loved it. I had fun with it. And I always smiled with the people I worked with. I always tried to have a good time with them, and people felt this. And this, what I didn't know was that what I was actually doing already by being nice to people was I was networking. And I almost never had to apply for a job in my life because I'm always recommended to people. And that is something, that's why I hold on to that recipe of I just work hard and try to be nice. And that's about it. Oh, you got to have patience. That's definitely one of the final components. I mean, because if you got all your ingredients, they need to be mixed in the mixer for 20 minutes, and you don't want to wait 20 minutes, it's not going to turn out to be a good cookie. So you got to have patience, and just that comes back to the humility of it, where you got to be humble and have patience and be able to wait. If you wait, you will get your chance. The only way you are going to fail is if you give up. If you keep working hard, if you keep going with it, doing what you want to do, you're never going to fail. I mean, obviously that depends on how you define failure, but I don't see anything. I think the way society likes to see failure as where, oh, you didn't succeed. No, that's not failure. That's just learning, leaving, stopping, quitting. That is the ultimate form of failure, because that's the moment you stop learning. And I gotta say, some people who are still working, they actually choose to stop learning, right? Because they think they're good enough. Now you lose that sense of humility. The ego takes over, and you're like, I'm already good enough. Well, if you're gonna think like that, you're gonna stop learning. And if you stop learning, in 5 years, the people, your peers, some people will have caught up. Other people will just have run right by you. And you're going to be left behind because you're not learning anymore. I know, actually, a very good friend of mine had this conversation. She's a Hollywood actress, and she says she's so humble. That's what always amazes me with her. And that's what she told me as well. Like, Adam, when you work with Christian Bale, Will Smith, all these great actors, they're so humble. They have a family. They go home, and they're there for the work. There's no over ego involved, and that's when it comes back to, it's a profession. This is something you're working with. You're not here to get an ego boost. You're here to make a living and have fun. And if you don't have fun with what you're doing, it's going to be really hard to work hard, so to say. And that's why I think, pick your passion. It's just going to be easier. And some people say, I want to do this. And then it's like, oh, okay. So why aren't you doing it? I'm just waiting for the right moment. Well, in that case, I'm not sure you really want to do it. It sounds like you more have a dream of becoming something else, but you don't really have that immediate energy to start doing it immediately. Because if you really wanted to do it, there would be no reason to not start that day. I love, there's a Chinese saying, and they say, the best day to plant a tree is 1,000 years ago. The second best is today. And I think that's it. So to summarize where I am at today, I've been able to just work. I've made so many friends in my field, and when I go and I work, I don't just see clients, I see friends. And it's just fun, because they're always happy to see me, and that makes me happy to see them. And I pick my clients based on how they are as well. But I think you kind of find that connection, It's fun working with people that are passionate, and it makes everything easier. Same thing, I have a lot of friends, and they always complain that, this client, he's horrible. And I'm always thinking, so why are you working with him? Or why aren't you trying to establish? Then obviously something is wrong with your communication. If you are if you're not agreeing, you got to take a pause and find a way to agree. Or if you simply cannot agree, maybe you're not a good fit. And none of you are going to benefit from that, because now passion disappears because it's not fun anymore. And when it's not fun anymore, that's when stress takes over. And stress is the enemy of the soul. It's horrible. I've seen what stress can do to you, and people think, oh, it's just a little tough, it's a little stressful. No, people get depressed. I can go on forever about how horrible I think stress is, and I really think it's the enemy of creativity. It's the enemy of a lot, and so keep it simple. Have fun with it, and sure, sometimes it's going to be hard. But that's when we come back to hardship. Sometimes it's going to be hard, but that's when you kind of have to look at, all right, because I admit, sometimes you have to do a job because you need to get some, because you have to evolve. Like, again, when I worked, I did a lot of jobs for Santa Barbara City College. And my first job there was a step up, and it was very tough because I was presented with challenges I had never faced before. But I also that this may not be fun in the moment because I'm a little stressed. It's tough. It's hard. But what I had to tell myself is I'm learning. This is part of the process. This is part of evolving. I think, think of this reference. How long did it take you to learn to ride a bike? You didn't just get up on that bike and just fly away and just drive off on it like a pro. No, you had to use supporting wheels. I don't know what you call them in English, but I'm just, you know what I mean with training supporting wheels, right? Yeah, training wheels, right? You had to put the training wheels on and go. Because your body was figuring out gravity and what it means, and that is something you can't just learn in a snap. It's something you have to adjust to, and you give it some time. Again, practice. You got to practice every day. If they're just sitting on the bike but you're not riding it, you're not going to get anywhere. So, depending on how many hours you practice with that bike with the training wheels on every day, that's your equation for how long it's going to take for you to finally reach a point where you take those training wheels off and you can ride the bike without them. And then you go from a bike to a motorbike, right? Some people do, some people do not, but it would be the same thing. And if first time you try something new and you feel like, well, this sucks, I suck at it. Well, duh, of course you're going to be bad at it. You've never done it before, man. And that's how it goes. And this is why I think when people like to look at failure, and I think it's unfortunate because, if you're here, if you're this good, you should not try and, let's see if I can do this in a good way. If you're here and you're this good, and someone comes here and they're only this good, you should not try and feel like, oh, I'm so much better than you because I'm up here. That's not how, and the person that is down here should not try and bring you down by breaking your leg or something so that now we're equally good. No, the person that's down here should try and get up to his level. That is striving, that's looking up to a role model instead of trying to sort of corrupt a role model, if that makes sense. And that's when you're going to learn. You're taking on this challenge as an opportunity to learn versus...
No, I agree
versus you saying, well, this is failure. Yeah.
I give you a perfect example. Example is from Harvey Specter. Harvey Specter from Suits. He says, life is this. I like this. So basically it's like what you were saying. It's just because, for an example, I'm here and you're here, it's not, it's like climbing a ladder. Eventually, you're going to get to the same point as, a friend or a sibling. You're going to be on the same level, even if that person wants to acknowledge it or not. You're just basically it's a lot of people use the brass rings. I used to climb in the ladder. So it's all about the same thing. Eventually, you're going to get where you're going. It's just a matter of time and passing of how much you're willing to sacrifice to get to where you're going. So you can either sit back and bitch and moan about it, or you can show people that this is what I want to do. And I'm a perfect example of this. I want to do this until I die. I'll become famous, get celebrity status, get my own talk show. I'm not saying that to be cute. I'm not saying that to be funny.
Yeah.
I'm going to reach for it. That's what I want to do for my life.
Yeah.
But at the same time, maybe I still will work in retail because I'm going to have one foot in the reality and one foot in the direction I want to go in. And you're going to be cut in half. Honestly, yes, I'm a big celebrity star, but people are be like, why are you working in retail? Because I'm still humbled. I'm the same person who I was 10 years ago. I'm going to show you, I may be on Fox News or CNN and it'd be on $1 billion, and yet you're working in, I don't know, Woodbury Commons or some store like that, or ShopRite, you're working there, and you're like, what is this big star doing in a store like this? You're showing people you're the same person, you're humbled, and you are no better than anyone else. And that's where the problem starts. People get their heads way up their asses saying, I'm better than him and her, so I don't have to be humbled. I am humbled. I do stupid things. I piss people off because, not deliberately, I have poor people skills. And I'm working on it. So my talk show is therapy for myself. My brother can vouch for that. He says I'm an asshole. Maybe I am an asshole. But I don't do it deliberately. I rub people the wrong way because I have poor people skills. And I'm not looking for sympathy. I admit, sometimes I'm not a good person. And I got in my karma for that. But I'm trying really hard to show people every day I'm not who I was. It's funny, people say you can't change overnight, but that's my motivation. I'm trying to show you, okay, I made a mistake today, or I pissed you off today, but I promise you tomorrow I'm going to be, you'll flip the switch. I'm going to be a different person. I'm working really hard to prove to you that it's basically we have, I'm trying to find the words for it. It's basically you have a group of people that see you one way, but at the same time you're trying to show them, I'm going to work on myself, and I'm going to work on myself. And even if they don't see it, or they don't want to see it, you're making yourself a better person. Yes, I'm going to piss people off. Yes, I do it deliberately. Yes, I do it to get a reaction. But there's times where I'm like, well, I don't understand why you're getting mad, because it doesn't register. I'm just being myself. And to them, you're saying, you're being an asshole. You're being an asshole. And I'm like, how am I doing that when I'm being myself?
Yeah.
And I don't mean to complain to you. I'm just being completely honest with you. And it's basically, I have poor people skills. Yes, I admit that. And I do things to piss people off. And I react not as appropriately as someone else would. That's why I start walking around with the attitude of I don't give a shit, because if I think about it long enough, it's going to bother me, and it's going to aggravate my social anxiety and my panic attacks. That's why I'm going to say, you know what? Here I am. I say what I want. I'm straight edge like CM Punk. I'm straight edge. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I have no filter. That's why I aggravate a lot of people. But I'm trying to show you, I'm not trying to pretend I'm like you. I'm not trying to pretend I'm my father. I'm not pretending to be, Vince McMahon or whoever out there. I'm trying to be me, and I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm just telling you that I'm not perfect, and I came up with the title for myself saying, hey, my belt, I created my own wrestling belt for my logo on my show. It's damaged because I messed it up. And so it's like, it's imperfect. You know what? That's me. I'm imperfect. It doesn't matter who I try to impress, because if I'm impressing you, I'm impressing my family, I'm eventually going to screw it up, and I'm going to start way at the top and hit the bottom, and I have to do the whole cycle over again of saying, okay, I pissed you off, now I'm going to have to climb that ladder again of trying to show you that I'm not perfect. I'm just being completely honest with you. People will accept me for who I am, and I'm tired of pleasing people. I really am.
Yeah, I think it's correct. But Keith, I got to tell you too, though. Everyone has their goods and bads. The only difference, I think, is that some people just like to point it out. And they like to say that, no, it's your fault, because it can never be their fault. And that's where words like, oh, you're an asshole, you're doing this, it comes out. And sometimes it's just people chemistry where people just don't connect. And that's not your fault. It's people, again, people like to say that it's your fault. And it's not. It's just you don't connect.
No, absolutely. Now, wrapping up our talk show segment.
And I think...
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. It's...
Okay.
I didn't mean to
interrupt you.
I you were
no. Well, I was just going to say that the only people who are going to ever improve and become really, really good are the ones who tell themselves, I have poor people skills. Because they are the only ones who are humble enough to see that, hey, I can get better. And frankly, what is there to say that no one can say that? We can all get better. It's just that some people are so fixed with saying, oh, I'm good enough, or oh, no, I'm good. It's like, well, then you stop learning and you're going to fall behind. It's because I've had poor people skills, and there was only one way to get better, and that was just throw yourself in it, become aware of it. And it was a mix of me changing into what I wanted to be, and when I'm thinking, well, this is what I want, this is who I want to be, now I'm going to start practicing that, and also starting to befriend people who are like I want to be, and sort of tell the guys who are not the way I want to be to just say, all right, you guys, in a nice way, fuck off. Those are the most easiest ways. We are people of imitation. Like, we imitate each other. And if you're around people who are telling you to change, I mean, you're ultimately going to change into what they are, because we imitate each other. The people you are spending your time with, we're all going to sort of become a little like each other. Now the question is this who you want to be? Surround yourself with the type of people that you like, and the person that you're thinking, I've come so far in just doing simple things like that, where I will just see here. I got some. There we go. I have to hold this up. I guess so.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, I met a friend. I've seen a guy, for instance. I meet someone, and I'm going, this person has something. I really like this quality that they have, this personal trait. And then sometimes I'm thinking, I want to hang out with them more because I want to get to know this quality of theirs. And because I know that if I hang out with them, I'm going to adapt that quality. And that's kind of, in a way, it's beautiful because what I become is not just me, but a collection of all these traits that that the best people I've met has been carrying on. And so I learn from others, so to say. I mean, you're going to get if you have to figure out everything on your own, it's going to take time. But if someone can come to you and say, "Hey, dude, I already went through all that shit. Trust me. This is all you need to know. You do this, you don't have to go through all those years of shit that I went through. Just learn this." And there you have it. So 10 people meet and they share what they've learned over their 10 years of experience. And now those 10 people are going to learn an equal amount of 100 years of experience. You know, I'm sure you can play around with that a bit, and don't quote me on it, but the principle is there.
Now, wrapping up our talk show segment, it's because we're going over our time.
Okay.
Now, for people who want to follow you on, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. Wrapping up our interview segment, how can people follow you on social media? Are you on Stage 32, LinkedIn, Twitter?
I gotta be honest, I have a very poor social media. I would say you go on, I'm on Facebook, but I don't look at Facebook very much. I mostly work with. I'm on Vimeo. There we go. I have a Vimeo. That's where you can see my work and what I do. And just look Adam Stumle, Adam Stumle. That's the only place I show public work that I've done, and that would be the best place. Otherwise, I don't. Again, like I said, most of my networking is built upon meeting people I like working with, and that's worked good so far. And I'm having a good time.
Absolutely. Now, the last question I was going to ask you is, going on the record, when I first, usually I say to people when I approach them, what was their first what was their first reaction when I first approached you? But you were actually the second person who was recommended to me. So when you were recommended to be on my show, what was your honest opinion, wrapping up?
Of the show, or of what? Sorry, say that again.
Oh, well, when you were recommended to talk to Keith and be on Keith's show, what was your honest opinion?
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
Yeah, sure. Well, usually when I approach people, I say, when I first approached you, what was your honest opinion? But you're the second person who was recommended by a friend to be on my show. So the question to you was, what's your honest opinion about being on my show, and how do you feel now, wrapping up?
I think it's great. This has been a very nice and well-spent 40 minutes in just talking a little about, getting a chance to talk about my philosophy and what I work with. I really like your philosophy, Keith, and I can see you like what you're doing. I think you should definitely keep doing this. I'm looking forward to seeing our friendship grow here in the future, and see where you will be at and where we are going to be at in the future, so to say. So keep it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Now stay tuned for Off the Air. I do have a couple questions for you. Wrapping up our interview segment, it was a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest. So I just want to say thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Keith.